Hi guys. In this course, it's all about environmental methods, and it's all about trying to figure stuff out about the world and communicating it to each other. And we've covered critical thinking and the scientific method, and all that is much of that is like, what is an interesting question? How do we answer it? You end up designing an experiment, and at some point, you gather a lot of data and you have to crunch it, make conclusions, and then present it to people. So, a large part of this class is actually learning how to crunch data. And it turns out that a lot of scientists use Excel to crunch data. It's a wonderful program. It's widely used, and we want you to learn how to use it. Now, please know there's a lot of students in this class, and I've been teaching for many years. And what I've noticed is that over the years, an increasing number of students are coming to this class already knowing Excel. However, a good number of students still don't know Excel, and they leave this class having learned Excel, and for the large part are pretty grateful for having done so. It's really a great tool. There are a few people who hate it despite my best efforts, and if that's you, I'm so sorry. You're going to suffer through this. I hope you don't. Try to have a good attitude. Now, for those of you who already know Excel really well, maybe you don't need this introductory tutorial. However, it could be that you learn one or two new tricks that are really helpful to you and it might be worthwhile. So anyway, I'm going to start. This is very basic. I'm starting as if you know nothing at all about Excel, and I'll show you how it works and then lead you up to and through making charts and actually doing some things with those charts. So without further ado, this is Excel. I just open it up, and you open up, it's the first thing you see. And the Excel calls this thing a book. Why don't they call it a file? Because that's what it is. I don't know, but they call it a workbook. This thing you see, it looks like a page. They don't call it a page. They call it a worksheet. Also, it's really small, isn't it? Let's make it bigger. And if you look under my face, hopefully I'll move my face. There's a little slider here which can make things bigger or smaller. So I'm gonna make this really big so you can see what I do in these cells. But before I talk about that, back to sheets. So you might want to have multiple sheets, so you can add new sheets. And you might want to name it. I'm gonna rename this Hello, I'm Dumb. Okay, why do I do that? It's so self-deprecating. All right, I'll do another one. And we'll rename this one How to Waste Your Students' Time. Hello, I'm Smart. Okay, all right, and this is just going to stay sheet one. We'll talk there. Anyway, and you can delete these two. You can add more of them. Just know that there's multiple sheets in some of the assignments this semester. You'll be needing them. Okay, so the way I learned Excel, no one ever taught me nothing. I'm stupid. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. And I just went around and I poked on stuff. And it's a really terrible way to learn stuff. So I'm going to show you things I learned the hard way. These are called cells. Every square is a cell. I'm going to put a nice little box around this one. This is a cool little thing. I'll put several boxes around here. Oops. Now I'll do inner boxes. Okay, it looks better now with boxes. The sheet is organized columns by letters and rows by numbers. So this is cell D1. This is cell E1. Why am I on D? Why am I not on A? Oh, okay. I slid over there. You can slide back and forth. You can slide up and down. Duh, you knew that. Okay, and you can type anything you want in these cells. Cool, so I did that. And I just want to say something about Excel. Excel is actually watching you type, and it's guessing what exactly you mean when you type. Like, for instance, I put in text there, and over here I put in numbers. And it might guess wrong about what I'm really intending to do here. Like, for instance, I might have 12 apples, or it might be 12 o'clock. And those are very different kinds of 12. And just so you know, so that's called, I guess that's called format. It's formatting the cell, cell type. I think it's called cell type. Anyway, a lot of what Excel reveals what it's thinking about you in this little window right up here. So if I have 12 here and I say that's actually, I don't know, time. Do I have time here? I have time. Boom. There. Now it knows it's time. And if I want to copy that format, I can go to the Format Painter, which is the same thing you find in Microsoft Word. I can copy that format and apply it here. But it changed it, so now I have to say it's 3. I don't even know how to do that. Oh my gosh. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Weird. Why won't it make it say 3 o'clock to come up here and do it? So what I just showed was that you can edit a cell here in the cell column, and by double clicking in and typing stuff, or alternatively, if you have a cell highlighted, you can come up here and type stuff in there. That becomes important when you do equations, as I'll show you soon. Okay, let's see. I'm just looking at a cheat sheet here. In fact, I have this thing called an Excel tutorial simple, and I'm going through this, and it's also, your lab instructor should also make it available to you on your lab page. And if you want to, you can just sort of go through here and make sure you can do all these things. Okay, just some basically formatting stuff. If I highlight a column, the whole thing is column, and I can hit the delete button and it all disappears. If that freaks me out, I can bring it back by hitting this back button. Very useful when you start screwing things up. There's a lot of cell formatting you can do, and column formatting. So I can make the column bigger if I need to, or I can make it smaller. If I make it too small for the stuff that's in there, I get all these hashtags. If I want to just automatically size it for the width of the largest entry I have there, I can highlight it over here and double click it. Not highlight it, I can mouse over this spot right here. You can see how the symbol changes as I do that. I can double click there, and it's a quick way to automatically increase the width of a column. The same is true for the rows. You can do things with the rows. Let me show you something super useful in Excel. Let's say someone like me tells you, make a column with the years 0 through 100 or 1 through 100 in it. And you go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's boring, right? You don't want to spend your time doing that. Excel's always thinking about what you're doing. So if I highlight that, I'm telling Excel, I'm starting a series here, 3, 4, 5, and I want to extend that a long way. If I mouse over the bottom right corner, there's a little green triangle in there. I hope you can see it. And when I get to it, the symbol of my cursor changes from a white plus sign to a black plus sign. When it does that, I can grab that and drag it down, and it increases the numbers because it knows, it figured out that I was doing a series. Let's see if I can do it in text. Monday, Tuesday, and I would guess the next thing I want would be Wednesday. Let's see if Excel is smart enough to do that. It is. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that can be really useful sometimes. Let's do something even more useful. All right, what I've shown you is how to enter. There's a lot more I could show you here. There's all this formatting stuff, and when I use Excel, at some point I end up spending a lot of time on formatting. And I'm just going to show you one more thing here and then leave the rest for you to experiment with on your own. But this is sort of important. 1.0. 1.0. Ha! Where'd my 0 go? I typed 1.0. I'll do it again. How about 2.0? Ow! What's it doing? What it's doing is guessing on, I don't know what it's doing. It doesn't like me to put in trailing zeros. But if I want to show the trailing zeros, right here is some places which, since significant figures is such an important part of this class, you should know about. Click on this stuff, and I can add as many trailing zeros as I want, or I can reduce the number of trailing zeros. So that can be very important when you have to, like right now I'm displaying 2 sig figs, 2.0, but if sometimes Excel will be a but and not do that, and so now you know how to do it. All right, so that's very simple. Basically, I've shown you text entry and enterer of just raw data. I'm now going to start showing you how to enter equations into Excel and using cell references. And this is probably the most powerful part, well, one of the most powerful parts of Excel. And you need to learn it lickety-split. Let's just say I have some numbers here. Okay, cool. Let me just set this aside. I have some numbers. And what I want to do is I want to calculate, maybe those are some sample results, and I want the average. Okay, you know the average is you add these all up and then divide by, I guess that would be 4. Well, what you can do is double click into this cell and then type the equal sign. And when you type the equal sign, Excel gets very excited. It doesn't get excited, it knows what's going on. You tell Excel that you're about to enter an equation. Cool. So I could type equals average, and I've forgotten what the command is. And these are all the possible commands that come up with AV, which is really useful. Oh, I type average. Okay, average of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm telling Excel that I want to calculate the average of these numbers, and it's actually prompting me the Excel language, the computer language it wants to use. Here, put number 1, comma, number 2, comma, number 3, comma. And when you're done, you end your parentheses and hit enter. When you're done entering an equation, hit enter to execute it, and you'll see if it works. 2.5. Okay, that worked. But now, see, it looks like 2.5, but you didn't type 2.5. You typed in the formula, and the formula is shown up there. This is super important, and I want you, for the rest of this semester, whenever you have any calculation you need to do, use Excel to do it. Every now and then, I find a student who's got a number in there, and it's a funny number, like I'm getting the wrong answer. And I click in to see how they did their equation, and what I see is this. Excuse me, you're not, how did you get 25 or 2.5? How did you do that? Clearly they must have used a calculator, gone away from Excel, and not used Excel, and then typed their number in there, which is a total misuse of Excel and showing me that the student is kind of resistant to learning Excel. I do not want you to resist learning from Excel. I want you to learn Excel. So whenever you have any calculation in this class for an assignment, make sure you're using a formula to calculate it. So let's do that again. Equals, now I showed you how to do that. Equal average. I'm going to double click on this, and then I'm going to edit it up here. Average, I could type 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's a waste of my time. I can just scroll over this, and it tells Excel I want to average the numbers in these cells. But check this out. Look what Excel did. It typed average parentheses B1 colon B4. That is important Excel language for you to notice. So just learn that expression. In parentheses, B1 colon B4 means all the numbers including B1 through B4. Close my parentheses. Oh, by the way, these glowing green lines, these moving green dots, means Excel's in the middle of thinking about something and you haven't really finished its thought for it. And so sometimes, let's just say I'm not really into doing this. I'm done with that. I want to go somewhere else, but you still see the green line. Just hit escape. Escape makes it stop thinking. Escape. Escape. There, I've escaped. But whatever happened to my formula, it disappeared, but at least I can go somewhere else and type. Let's do it again. So equal average. I'm going to double click average, and I'm going to scroll over these numbers. I'm going to close my parentheses and hit enter. Boom. There. I've got, I have done what's called, well, I've entered a formula. That's an important skill. And number 2 is I have used cell references B1 through B4. Here's another trick. You get confused, like you forget, what is this 2.5? And it's really helpful to put in a little, I call it a trail of breadcrumbs after that fairy tale where I can't remember what happened. But I like to put in notes to myself. Average. All right, so I put a little text there. an average of this stuff. And if I just want to check, maybe I did it wrong, I click up here, and when I do, it color codes stuff. So it's color coding what it's averaging, but also putting in these numbers here. Let me just do a little bit more complicated thing. I'm going to put in some some odd numbers here. Okay, so now let's just say I want to add the average of this to the average of that. And so I could go equals the average of that plus, let's see, average of, let's see, I'll just type this out, C1 through C4. Okay, I guess that did it. The number seems to make sense, and I'm going to click on here, and yeah, I've got color coded an average of these guys in blue plus the average of these guys in red, and it makes sense to me. Cool. I'm going to insert a row here. Off to the right, you have an insert thing. I want to insert sheet rows, so I've done that, and this is group 1, and this is group 2. Okay. Cool. So a big part of using Excel is learning all these equations that it has. It's got every equation you can think of built into its computer memory somehow. And if you ever forget what something is, for instance, like what is the expression for standard deviation, just start typing equal STD, STD, well, and it comes back, my mind is in the gutter. Okay, it comes with a bunch of stuff. And so you might find what you want there very quickly, and has a little text there. Another thing to do is if you have forgotten how to do something or what it is, you can Google it. Like, what is the equation for standard deviation in Excel? And there's a gazillion great answers on the internets. And the internets have saved my butt many times in Excel. You just Google it. Sometimes there's a tutorial you can use as well. Let's see what I've done. Some average, what do we got for cell references? Use a fill handle. Oh, okay. How about I've got 12. Let's see. Okay. I know what I'll do now. I'm going to make things a little, I'll just go over here to hello, I'm done. Make it bigger. And let's just say I have a number here, 12, and then I have a series here. Okay, I have a big series here. Cool. I wish I had a better, just like a literal example to you, but to use for you, but I'm just making some stuff up here. Let's just say I want this cell to equal this times that. In fact, I want this cell to equal 12 times. 12 times column B. I don't know why I would want to do this, but let's just say you do. Sometimes you have a number here, just one magical number that you want to multiply by a bunch of things. So what I'm going to do is type equal this times, and the times is the asterisk, times this, times 12. Cool. All right, and that's true. Okay, the fill handle is this bottom right-hand little area. It's a little green square at the bottom right-hand corner of every cell, and you mouse over it until your white symbol turns into just a black plus. And I can grab that and drag down. And I'm just going to check my answer. What I wanted was 2 times 12, but it's not returning 2 times 12. So I click in here to see what's going on. Oh, what happened was it copied this formula and then applied it here, and it thought, Excel was thinking, oh, if he wanted these two numbers multiplied here, then in the next row down, he wanted these two multiplied here. But I don't want them. I want this to always stay 12. There's two ways I can fix that. One is the dumb way, which is by replacing this with 12, and that would work. Yeah, that would work, but that's the dumb way. There's a better way to do it. Using anytime you do use cell references, it's better. Okay, for reasons I can explain later. So what I want is basically I want to freeze this cell reference, A2. I want to freeze A2. And the way I'm going to do that is using this dollar signs. $A, $2. A is the column. A $A freezes the column and allows the freezes the column, but allows the rows to vary. The $2 freezes the row, but allows the columns to vary, which is confusing as heck to me. So all I just think of is if I just want to keep 12 frozen, I do $A, $2. So if I do that, it works. Okay, if I come back here and check, yup, it's still referring to that. So the dollar signs are really handy and will come in really handy this semester for you guys. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is there's a lot more to say about formatting in Excel, but I want to jump ahead to making charts because you actually have to make a chart. I used to call them graphs, but Excel calls them charts. So now I have to call them charts, which is irritating, but true. So here's how you make charts. You do them by inserting them. So, oh, by the way, there's all this stuff up here, and we're going to delve deep into them all. Oh, I didn't do the most important thing first. The most important first thing is to save your file. All right, save it. I'm just going to save this on my desktop as a file named junk because that's what it is. All right, I have a lot of junk on my desktop. Yes, I just replaced that. Okay, so, and then periodically save as you go. Computing 101, you learned that a long time ago. Don't forget it. I once had a whole computer lab of students, and halfway through this intense Excel assignment, and they're all swearing and sweating and making progress, suddenly the power blinked off, just for a moment, and it erased everything in RAM, short-term memory, and it erased everything students hadn't saved since they had last saved it. Don't let that happen to you. Save multiple. Anytime you do something particularly hard and achieve it, hit save. It's like, in video games, when you conquer some area, you want to quick make a, I don't know what they call that, a stop point, so you can go back there and not have to do the whole game over again. Okay, anyway, what did I say we were going to do? Charting. Cool. So let's just say this is a number of cigarettes smoked. Number of cigarettes smoked per day. And let's just say, I see how it's wrapping the text around, so I could either increase it like this, which is stupid because it makes too much space, or I could wrap the text there. That's good. And this is cancer rate. All right, I'm going to diss cigarette smoking here. I think that the more cigarettes you smoke, the more cancer you get. And I collected this data, and I want to see if there's a correlation, not a causation. That's different. Hill criteria. We'll talk about that later. But I just want to see if there's any kind of a correlation between these things. And so I want to chart this stuff out. And if you highlight this stuff and go to Insert and then choose a chart type, you are probably going to get a really bad chart. Do not fall into that tempting trap of charting things out that way. You might get lucky. It might work, but I guarantee you, if that's how you make charts in Excel, pretty soon you're going to find yourself in a hellscape because Excel is really weird about how it thinks you want to make charts and screws it up really bad. So if you do it my way, you will get control over Excel's thinking and make it make the chart that you want. All right? So again, if you do it this way, you're bound for trouble. You might get lucky, good luck. Eventually, it's gonna break. If you do it my way, it's a little bit more complicated, but it works. Here's my way. Go to Insert and choose the chart you want. I'm gonna do a scatter plot. Let's see if it actually, good. And you open up, it's counterintuitive. You open up a blank scatter plot and then you tell Excel how to do that. And what you do is your best friend, and I'll say this, or I say this to all my students. I don't have a lab this semester, so I don't get to say it to anybody. except this camera. You go to select data, your best friend in making charts, a blank chart, select data, and you have complete control in here once you understand what's going on. And the deal is that Excel has this thing it calls a series, and it took me forever to figure out what a series is. A series is a collection of X values and Y values that go together. So I want to add a series. And the series name is going to be whatever. It's just text. It's just a name. But the values for the X values is going to be the number of cigarettes smoked. And I just scroll over the data, and it automatically fills in this weird Excel text. For the Y values, delete what it gives you. I don't know why it gives you that. Just delete that and replace it with the Y values you want. Boom, boom. And as they say, Bob is your uncle. It worked. And you have to click OK twice, and there it is. Okay. Now, I want to tell you one of the most coolest, most powerful parts about Excel. One of the most wonderful thing about Excel is you can go all the way to make this fantastic Swedish language title. It seemed Swedish to me. You can spend a lot of time formatting a chart. You get all the data from the field, you enter in the data, and then you save it, and then you make a chart, and then you find out that actually these data points are wrong. Like, oh no, in the olden days, I'd have to start from scratch. I'd have to enter it and calculate the averages and do everything else. But Excel has integrated everything so that if you make a change over here, it will automatically update the chart there. Isn't that cool? I'm going to purposefully mess up this data here because I don't want it to be perfect. I want a perfect line because I want to show you something else in a bit. All right, so that's one of the coolest things about Excel. But, so the two things I want to communicate is how to make a chart using your best friend, which is up here under the chart tools, format, chart tools, design, select data. That's your best friend in making charts. And the other thing I wanted to make sure you knew is that you can easily change the data if you need to. If your information about the world changes, which it does, and you can quickly update these charts. Okay, so there's so much more I could talk about, but I'm not going to talk about formatting charts except to apologize and warn you that formatting these charts is one of the biggest pains in the whole world. You'd think that like gathering the data and doing all that field work is the hard part, or doing math is, but no, figuring out how to insert a y-axis label or a trend line, it's just messing with these stupid charts can take forever. But communicating our results is an important part of environmental methods, and so we do it. Okay. This is a scatter plot, and we will be making many scatter plots this semester. And every time you make a scatter plot, pretty much every single time, there's two things I want you to do. One is to insert what Excel calls a trend line, which is a form of correlation analysis. And the other thing is to give the equation of that line, the mathematical formula that describes it. That's regression analysis, and also to calculate the R-squared value. So we'll talk more about correlation and regression later, but I just want to show you how to do it now. So I'm going to close that stupid thing. The way you do it is you click on one of the dots and they're all highlighted. Then you right click and you format, well, you can add the trend line here, or you could format the data series. Uh-oh. It's not there. Okay, I'll do it the other way. Right click on it and go add trend line. Super easy, add a trend line. Usually use a linear one. If you want to do a logarithmic, you can, but you're not done. Just putting in the line is not enough. I'll get very upset if that's what you do, because I want to display the equation on the chart and also display the R-squared value on the chart, which are here. The reason, I'll get all hot and bothered about this later, is this is so important. It's so valuable. If I can tell you that the relationship of smoking cigarettes to getting cancer goes with this equation, Wow, that's super powerful. I can tell you your chances of getting cancer. I can figure out how many people are going to die this year, depending on how many cigarettes they smoke. I can calculate the cost to people, as well as maybe the cost to the tobacco industries for people not smoking, et cetera, et cetera. An equation, a mathematical formula, is super valuable, and it's right here at your fingertips. And if you don't put it in a regression analysis, wow, you're totally missing something that's super valuable. So make sure you know how to do it. Okay, let me see. Hey, you know what? I decided, no, I'm fine. Um, cool. Okay. I think that's all for now. It's plenty. I could go on and on forever, but that's just the basics. I'm going to save this. All right. Work in groups and you guys help each other out when you run into problems. It's the same lesson I'm telling you all semester. Get help from your peers, get help from your lab instructor, get help from the course tutor, and get help from me so that you master Excel. It's super awesome. You're going to love this skill when you have it. Okay, that's all. Thanks. Bye.